Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hello there and welcome back.
So the New Year gets kicked off with a real bang with 7.5 is what the USGS is calling it, earthquake. Over in Japan, standard depth of 10 kilometers. What can you say? This is a real big one. When we see them saying it's 7.5, you got to wonder how big really is it? Because, again, we don't really trust the USGS, just like we don't trust NASA, et cetera, et cetera. But a big, big quake, and at the moment, 22 aftershocks that we've seen. The largest aftershock, 6.2, numerous aftershocks in the 5s and the 4. It's still an ongoing situation, so recognize that. As you can see where this is kind of north central. Now we've seen usually we'll see the more massive ones have a tendency to be on this side of Japan as opposed to this side, but you can see these red lines are faults. So Japan is just split up by faults, numerous plates. It is again a landmass that's been created by volcanism, but then this is how the Earth works, and that gets me thinking about all the prophecies of new land masses in the Pacific and the Atlantic. The heliplots, which these are areas all around the world that measure the shaking on the Earth, and you can see all the way over in Barbados, this thing is turning black. So when you look at it, Cuba, Dominican Republic, China, this one rang the bell, so to speak. So absolutely, the Earth was ringing like a bell. Australia, Philippines, Florida, this one shook the entirety of the globe when we get into this category. So this was a big one. Absolutely, still trying to figure out what is going to be the damage from this. And this, of course, comes on the heels of the largest solar event since 2017. As we see here, the X-class, the X5, this is what we were talking about late last night, as we did not stay up to ring in the new year. And you can see you've had some activity after that with M-class flares. This one, as it's very quiet right now with the KP, but that probably won't last. It did produce a CME. Most of it is heading off away from the planet, but the Earth should still get a glancing blow from this energy. And what the guides have said is it doesn't matter because it does affect our consciousness any way you look at it.
Well, it definitely does. I mean, this is something that we are all kind of in the same bubble. So when something happens in that bubble, it's definitely going to affect us. So we need to watch that. But when this happened, a couple of things ran through my head instantly, and directed energy is really curious. I think most people look at that as do weapons, so it makes a laser. I strongly believe with this sun sneeze that energy is able to be harnessed and redirected. So I can't necessarily say that this is 100% technology, because I do feel a lot of nature in it, but I really feel that there's an external force going on that we don't understand, a technology that we're not able to comprehend because it does go up so high in the ranks. This is technology of a caliber that we cannot grasp just yet, but that's kind of what I think is going on.
As you see, tsunami waves rolling in. So there have been tsunamis, absolutely. There was the highest level of tsunami warning issued. Currently, the threat for additional tsunamis is declining, although they're telling people stay away from the coasts. We have shared with you guys, for this time period that we are in, when we were looking for a little bit more space, the guides just wouldn't let us get very close to the coasts. They didn't want us along the coastlines for this time period. And when is this time period? Well, I would say probably now through 2030-ish, it feels. And that was really the thing that they told us, just stay away from the coastlines. And Japan, obviously, has a history, and as we were showing the fault lines and the conjunctions of the plates, has a history of huge quakes. And in fact, Edgar Cayce had predicted Japan would slide off into the sea, but we haven't seen that yet. And again, timelines do change. Edgar Cayce, besides his dire predictions, really what he did for so many people's benefit was share cures. And, that's a totally off topic discussion, but I want to get that out there that, again, timelines, they're not set in stone. This is all of our consciousnesses working together, and the more we can change the timelines, the more we can come together, we could change the disasters. I've spoken to you guys about how as a kid I would study history. I was just an avid historian. And I noticed when there was great tragedies on a human scale that were manufactured by things like war, you saw an increase in the natural disasters. Now we understand, too, that there are technologies that can absolutely use and create what appear to be natural disasters that are really weapons of war. And that never occurred to me, when I was like 10, 12 years old and through teens. Never occurred to me until maybe, I don't know, a decade or two ago. So here we go with some photos. As you can see, lots of damage. This one's going to take quite a while, and it's a fluid situation because there's always the potential that there will be some big aftershocks, if not something even as large or bigger than what we've seen with this one, which again they're categorizing as a 7.5. I do think 2024, as I've shared with you guys throughout the last several years, I think 2024, besides being known as the year of WW3 manifesting, unless we can paradigm shift by awakening so many people that are in key positions, the people that are actually, got their fingers on the trigger, so to speak. That's what it's going to take. You're going to have to wake them up en masse to shift this paradigm. But 2024, obviously it's going to be a year of WW3 increased war. But I do think it's also going to be the year of great quakes. And especially as we roll towards April, and I could see Cindy nodding her head, I do think that in the timeline around April and maybe halfway through May, we have the potential of seeing quakes like we've never seen in our lives at this point in time. And that could even start in February, is what I've been feeling lately. So here they're calling it a 7.6. You could see now Japan, again, island nation, built on all these fault lines, and then you have such an advanced city-dwelling culture for the most part, where people are densely packed. I mean, look to the Asian cities compared to New York City has 8 million people in it, jam-packed, and you have so many cities in China, and you have Tokyo, for instance, and others that have twice the amount of people, which boggles my mind because, walking in New York City, it's just, I don't like feeling like I'm densely packed into a sardine can. And yet, everything around you here is high-rise buildings. As you can see, these houses, obviously not high-rises here, but this is when the waves started to first roll in. Again, it'll be days before we start to get an idea really of what's happened and what's going on here. but I certainly wouldn't want to be in a major city when these big quakes come, although certainly they are built to a much higher spec than, say, when we see a quake like this happen in a place like Iran or some parts of Turkey. And the geological structure of the nations are different as well, but just the building techniques used. This is why you might get like 5.6, 5.9 in some of those countries and have so many deaths because everything crumbles. Here they are built to a higher code. Oh, some of the shrines. This is kind of heartbreaking too. You know, some of these Japan's indigenous religion, let's say the dominant religion is Shintoism, which is one that includes leaving memories and contact with your ancestors and your ancestral lineage, which is something that we very much believe in. We could tap into our ancestors' energy, their knowledge, their experiences. And when you do things like, say, leave a meal out, a plate that was set for your ancestors at the dinner table on celebrations, like maybe a New Year's celebration, a Christmas celebration, different holidays, that life force chi can be used to benefit them. And that's something that so many indigenous cultures and quote-unquote pagans, et cetera, knew, and it can benefit them, just like prayers for the dead actually does benefit them.
You know, leaving a seat at the dinner table during holidays for our ancestors, for those who want to come in and be with us and spend time with us. They're just like, you know, a paper sheet away. They're not far away, and it's so easy the way we are raised to think that they're not there when really they are. If we make the space in our hearts for them, they are able to walk in. So we definitely cannot forget that. But yeah, I was watching those things shake, you know, the temple, the shrines, the everything. That just really made me cringe. You know, I mean, watching that, and you're watching the screen, the bricks here, I mean, they look like they're breathing, like taking a big breath out. That's really creepy. So a lot of this stuff is just really concerning. And the other thing that came in was be ready for a surprise. I know that there's a way that things generally move when it comes to transfer of energy, but Mother Earth might have something else up her sleeve, and that's yet to be seen. But she definitely has a plan. That plan is to come out on top, and she's going to make whatever move she needs to make to put herself in a better position, and ultimately that puts us in a better position. We all need to take care of ourselves first, do what's right for ourselves first. If we take care of ourselves first, then everything else behind us is going to be in first place. We have to remember that and keep that in mind. Always be taking care of yourself, because she's going to. So we'll have to see what happens next.
Yeah, typically you would see an energy transfer that would happen that would push this energy up either towards Kamchatka and Alaska or across to the West Coast, or it could go back down towards the Philippines. But I've been, watching, and I always watch carefully for signs for those that are on our West Coast, as we do send our prayers and best wishes for those in Japan, as so many people will have undoubtedly lost their homes, and hopefully the loss of life won't be as bad as it could be with something along this size. But looking first, before there was a big one in, say, Southern California or Cascadia, I would definitely expect to see something significant up in Alaska over towards Kamchatka, and before those would roll out, potentially Japan first. So, it certainly might just be the first of a series. I do think 2024 will be a year of massive quakes, like we haven't seen before in our times. So this tsunami warning was upgraded to a major tsunami warning. There had been tsunamis coming in. Again, it's a fluid situation, literally. And as you can see here, within 90 minutes initial quake, 19 other aftershocks recorded, 22 when we started to make the video. And they're still warning people, get to higher ground if you are along the coasts. As you can see, water is extremely powerful, and it just washes everything away in its way. So here, this was an update, a recent update. The highest level warning dropped, but residents again told not to return to homes. There's fires that have broken out. Many homes have been destroyed. And a fluid situation that we will keep an eye on. There's so much to cover. There's like 3 other videos that we are kind of working on and trying to get to. This is going to be a very, very active year, obviously. And again, when I see things happening with the sun, I know what's happening is, again, the source of all is trying to, again, bring some balance and some harmony as we shift out of a dark age. And we will see that this dark control matrix will be losing its grip on power. It is losing its grip on power. And, of course, they will do desperate things as they lose their grip on power. Yeah, watch. This is what I sense too. It's all the ETs out there, and no, not all ETs are grays, not at all. But yeah, it's about to start. It's 2024. Now is when this is when they're gonna really go into the roller coaster ride, and it's gonna be quite a show. Let's see how they will handle it this time, as we are on a spiral, and we come around to these conditions time and time again. Let's see how they will handle it this time. Will they start getting along? Will they figure out the big picture? Will they rise up and come together? That's the key question.
I know at this state, we just really have to kind of watch and see, and hopefully the ETs won't continue to lock their doors every time they fly by Earth. I mean, watching us humans just really go at it with each other. They have so many things that are polarizing, that polarize us, even if we think along the same lines to be self-sufficient. The controllers have inserted certain things to keep people polarized and to keep people at each other's throats. And I think it's the recognition of that and dissolving that is what it's going to take, each individual person making themselves the best version of themselves. Be so busy working on yourself that you just don't have any time to do anything else. And I promise you that's really going to take you a long way.
As always, guys, much love and gratitude for your support and being part of this family. And again, we want to thank all of our patrons. Couldn't do it without you guys over there. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.